Welcome to this week's podcast episode. We have an entrepreneur, marketing strategist, Adam Sinkus, and we're going to talk all about providing actionable marketing insights. So it's going to be a great conversation. He's the founder of Cowork Hub Virtual, and he's also managing director of My Roofing SEO. So I'll let him talk about his background and introduce him to the show. So Adam, welcome.
Thanks for so much for having me on. And actually, I think since that we last talked, things have changed a little bit. But I'm the managing partner of A Purpose Partnership. We are a marketing agency, marketing and communications agency, but still doing lots of other things, podcast host as well. So love talking marketing. It's definitely a huge part of my passion and a huge part of my background. I focus in our agency on the digital side of things, so websites, SEO, social media, paid ads through Google and all those places. Looking forward to the conversation today.
Yeah, really interesting. So tell us more about talking about using marketing and developing your digital brand in an impactful way.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, right? So one, we have to realize that people don't want to be just cold sold to. So the days of email pitching, sending crazy DMs over, all that has gone out the window, and people want to come find you. They want to build that relationship. They want to build that trust with you. And how do we do that? We start off with being visible. So that's your website, that's SEO, that's building out your social media channels. From there, then it's starting to build the trust. So how do we do that? The short answer is we start providing value. We lead with value. What can we give away to them? And then from there, this is where we start to get into the sales piece of things, right? And this is where we start to take that value and transition it into conversation. And that's where marketing shifts. We shift from marketing to the sales mindset.
Interesting. And when there was a great book by Gary Vee called The Jab Punch, which I recommend to the audience. Check it out. But it was talking about what you're talking about, leading with value. Tell us 5 strategies that don't work on social media.
So I already mentioned one of them, the cold pitch and DM, right? Those stopped working a long time ago. Matter of fact, on a daily basis, I probably get between 15 or 20 of them that I straight out ignore. So people are ignoring those, right? The other things that aren't working on social media anymore is pitching in your post, right? So trying to sell a service right in your post, unless you're like a retail brand where you're like, hey, check out this new product that's on sale 20% off, like that stuff still works. But if you're selling services, you're selling business to business, even business to consumer, and you don't have a clear service that or product that you're offering them, trying to sell in posts will kill you every time. Also, the social media platforms are starting to knock that down a little bit as well. Reason being, they want you to pay, right? They want you to pay to for sponsored posts and things like that for the reach. Connecting with people just to make the sale is no longer working. Right. People, you'll hear this all the time, especially in LinkedIn. The so-called experts will say, go connect with 100 people every day, right? Or it's now every week. And that spray and pray tactic is just really stifling impactful growth in your network, right? It's stifling the opportunity to actually go talk to people that will actually buy from you. So next up is not using video and pictures and multimedia in your posting, right? You absolutely have to have some sort of multimedia linked into your posting, whether it be pictures, videos. I love the 1-minute video, right? TikTok has created that. It's the new Vine for those that have been around for a while, but that is a super awesome format. Works really well on all the social platforms. But if you're not using video, you're not using pictures, you're not going to grab interest. And then the last piece is don't try and be everywhere all at once, right? We're business owners, we're running business, we have day-to-day client work and things that need to go on. So the reality is that we can't spend 6-8 hours a day on social media, right? Unless you have somebody that you're paying to do that. So be where your audience is at. Don't try and be everywhere. Usually that means 1 to 2 platforms that we're focusing on instead of all 7 or 8 social platforms out there. So those are my 5, like, real quick hit when this isn't what's working and how do we solve it.
Yeah. And it's really interesting because what you said was like so simple, but it's very profound and very insightful, especially the sales and all of those. A lot of clients think that you have a website and that's your digital business card. Tell us why your website is more than that.
So here's the thing, right? People aren't seeking out your business like they used to. You used to go to the yellow pages, flip the yellow pages open. You look down the list and ABC roofing company, all-star doctor services. And that's how people went through and found. And then they talk to their friends and they go, hey, have you ever used? Have you ever used? And so that all happened organically through conversations. Now with the internet, that's all still happening organically, right? But it's happening in a different way because now you have online reviews. Now you have social media conversations, community forums, places talking about your business. And so by the time people get to your website, they want to see more than just, I help blah, blah, blah do this thing, right? They want more than that. They want value from it. So this is where, from an SEO perspective and from a consumer experience perspective, a blog is a super important part of a website. Having an updated blog is even more important, right?
Yeah.
You can't just set it and forget it and go, I put 4 articles out there. We should be good for the next year. No, we have to keep updating that stuff. We have to keep providing value. If you provide services, I strongly encourage having an ebook or a quick checklist that people can download, because this is how you're going to start capturing information from your website about your users, right? What do they care about? What's their email address? How can I contact them in the future? How can I build some of those things like a newsletter that will keep me top of mind over the competitors? And so websites become a hub for how you collect your consumers' information.
Interesting. The other thing is when you talk about when, especially with social media, everybody's all about the followers, how many followers you have. Most of them are bots and scammers, and then how many likes you have. Why is that not important? You talk about that.
It's a mixed bag, right? It is, but it isn't, right? It's not important in the perspective of, I'd rather have 10 really interested super fans of my business than 100 random followers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I say that to go, it's not that followers and likes and clicks aren't important, because that's how the algorithms work, right? It's that we have to be chasing the right followers. We have to be chasing the people that are going to click and like on our posts, the people that are going to be engaged in our brand. And so the mindset isn't, how can I get 10,000 followers? The mindset is, how can I get 10,000 customers, right? And that's when we shift our mind to that. We stop thinking about, I just want the gratitude of saying, I got 10,000 followers for my business, right? There is a bit of credibility to that, but in the reality is, if you have 10,000 followers and none of them are purchasing your services or taking advantage of your services, you have zero return from that. And that's the big thing that, as a business owner, I'm concerned about. If I put effort to this marketing bucket, am I going to get dollars back from that? And you should be seeing about a 5 to 10 times return on your marketing dollars that you're spending.
Interesting. Yeah, that's quite much always talking about return on time and return on investment because we spend times on these platforms, which is interesting. Tell us what's interesting is that marketing is always changing. How do entrepreneurs stay abreast of what's happening and what adjustments should they be making?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. There is not a straightforward answer to that. The reality is this, right? Number one, if you can afford to hire somebody to take care of your marketing because you're not passionate about marketing, do that. Let them go be nerds about how all the algorithms work and how to get your reach out there, how to optimize your website. Let them go do their nerdy things and be happy about that, right? If you can't, and there's a ton of people that fall into that bucket that I can't afford to hire a marketing resource, the biggest, most simple things you can do is make sure that your socials are up to date. Your socials match all of your services on your site. and you're constantly updating your information. So that means posting new blogs, making sure you're giving a fresh look on your homepage, maybe a fresh article on your homepage, things like that. And those that will keep the algorithms, that'll keep everybody happy to be able to keep that visibility in your page. As for keeping up with it, even the best marketers I know struggle to keep up with how quickly things change. Google makes somewhere between 100 and 100 minor algorithmic changes every month, right? 3 times a year, they launch major algorithm updates. Socials are constantly making changes. What works today may not work tomorrow. You just have to find the things that are consistently working for you. Right? And that's a lot of, we call it A/B testing. So if I do A and it works, then cool. If I do B and it doesn't work, then I'm going to stick with what A is doing. Then I'm going to look at A and go, why is this working? And I'm going to come up with a new version of B that takes A and changes some aspect of it. Is it the verbiage is great, but maybe I want to use a different image for it. Making those, just constantly making those changes to it will help you find what works. Eventually, you'll find things that will consistently work regardless of the changes in the algorithm, but it's a test, right? Yeah. Everything is a test, and you have to give it. The one thing I tell everybody is you have to give marketing a chance to work. If you change it today, it's not going to be magically fixed and perfect tomorrow, right? It's going to take a couple of weeks for you to be able to see that traction, understand what's going on with it, and make those changes. There are things like marketing sprints that we can do. Those are more direct paths, like email campaigns, direct mail campaigns, outrunning ads, right? There's a direct path there. That's your quick marketing sprint stuff. But marketing as a whole is a journey. And we have to take people along that journey and give them time to consume different parts of it.
Yeah, interesting. These are very insightful. Other questions is that a lot of businesses need a digital brand strategy. What is that, and why do entrepreneurs need one?
Yeah, so start with what a digital brand strategy is, right? So when we look at marketing, we look at traditional marketing. This is like your, newspaper, TV ads, billboards, PR statements, like things like that, right? That's the traditional marketing path. Now with the internet, we have to start thinking about things in a more immediate capacity, right? No longer are we solving problems for 30 days. We're solving problems for the next 5 minutes, right? So when I put my messaging out there, I have to be a bit more now focused and be ready to make changes on what that now focus is based on the way the market reacts, right? And so when we talk about digital brand strategy, we talk about how do we create a path where people can follow our journey and it makes sense from one now moment to the next now moment. So if today we're talking about preparing for cybersecurity during the holidays and during holiday shopping, right? Now I can take that now moment, which is really important to a lot of people right now. And in January, now I flip the script and I go, how do you keep yourself cybersecurity smart for tax season? How do you keep, and so we just take them down that journey. It's similar information, it's similar approach, just a different overarching message or path that we're taking people on for that based on what's going on in the world, in that time, in that place. And that's just one example of many.
Interesting. Because your brand basically is your intellectual property, and it's everything you're online, and it's your online real estate.
Yep.
Fascinating. Really great conversation. A lot of very insightful pieces of advice and information. How can people follow you, contact you, connect with you?
Best place to connect with me, hands down, LinkedIn. I'm there too much. According to my wife, I spend way too many hours on LinkedIn. You can go to linkedin.com/in/Adam Sinkus. Very easy to find. I am the one and only on there as far as I can tell. I post all kinds of great stuff about marketing, about what's going on in the world. You can also hop on over to our website, apurposepartnership.com. We got tons of information there. We're just about to launch a blog for our site as well. So we'll have some great information coming out about how paying it forward can can help your brand. We're going to be talking about some key marketing strategies. We're getting ready to launch some downloadables, and we're going to be talking some leadership development stuff as well coming up in the near future. So those are probably the two best ways to get a hold of me through there. Very easy to find.
Yeah. And be sure to check out Adam's resources. All of them will be in the links and show notes. Follow him on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and also his website, presentello.com. And what a great conversation. And thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me. Really appreciate the conversation.